talk to each other.
Dude, it's been a while, bro. It's been a while since like before break.
I feel nauseous.
So do I, kind of. Not gonna lie.
I just had like 2 giant chocolate chip waffles
2 giant chocolate chip waffles.
with like a shit ton of a lot of my mistake.
You're good.
A lot of
Move
syrup.
closer to me.
Do you say syrup or syrup?
Syrup. Move closer.
Syrup?
To me. You're so far. I feel like I can't hear you, but I can.
Syrup or syrup?
I say syrup.
Syrup.
I think
Syrup?
whoever says syrup is
Stupid.
deficient.
Dyslexic.
No.
Syrup and a lot of Nutella, and now I feel nauseated.
Nauseated. Interesting. I'm a little sick. How was your break? Well, actually, welcome to Talks with Johnson.
Welcome back.
My name is Johnson Celestin,
My name is Joshua Sachkov.
and today we have a very different episode for today. Very interesting.
Spicy.
Very different, as promised. We're having a podcast episode centered. Well, not really centered. More so like an interview style. Please beware that we are very, 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 very considerate of what we say. It's more so we're trying to hear everybody else's opinion. And do not feel offended. It's really just a space for people to just speak.
Yeah.
To just speak regarding the Palestine and Israel conflict. Why? Many people may ask why. It's kind of like, why not? Why not?
To be or not to be?
To be
Why not
or
or not
not
to
to
why?
be. Did you say that with an Indian accent?
No, didn't mean to. To be or not to be?
Oh, don't-
okay.
That was not a good move. That was not a good move.
Why not or not to why?
Anyway, what we're doing is we're having people just walk by, and we're on campus right now. And if you want to participate, you can participate. So we have one person who's willing to start off.
Hello.
Hello there.
What's your name? Who are you? Where are you from?
I don't know if I want to state my name.
Oh, no, you don't.
We are going to be talking about some things, and I do have
Never
an
mind.
opinion that may or may not get me in trouble.
You could pass as an Owen.
As
Could
an
pass it
Owen.
as
You
an
could use
Owen.
fake names if you
You
want.
could just make
use
up a name.
use an alias.
Just
Owen Jemitis.
Owen Gray,
Owen
the porn star.
Bennett.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Owen Bennon. All right,
Ben and
Owen.
Blair.
Okay. Wow, I don't like being called a different name. It's okay, though. No, it has to be done. All right, so
What's
first
your
of all,
perspective on the conflict?
there's a lot to say. I think somebody out of the three of us needs to introduce what went down, because honestly, this is going to pass, as COVID did and every other major event, into the ether of time. So in order to people to understand the context that we're living in, I think we should all, the three of us, reflect on what just happened.
Oh, and while you're speaking,
Yes.
if Josh and I have any questions for you, don't take them personal.
That's
It's
okay.
just-
Yeah,
I'm
they're
going to
just
ask you guys
genuine
questions too.
That we're like.
I'm going to ask you guys questions as well.
Or there could be devil's advocate questions.
Well,
I'm
the reason
contrarians.
I would have questions is because I genuinely don't know a lot about the topic. And
Okay.
all I'm hearing is just sources that I hear from everybody else. So I don't know
Okay.
what's really true and what's not true either.
Understandable. So
What has stopped you from doing your own research?
I don't know where to start.
Just
I got
start.
places for you. I got a lot of places.
You'll give your place, but I think you should just start.
Everybody's got
Yeah.
their place, though. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. You got to take from everywhere, and you have to
So
research about the place.
So
It's
take it
kind
from
of like
everywhere and make a
any essay,
consensus?
anything you research, you start somewhere. Nobody starts at the perfect place. You kind of start where you start and you work back
Hmm.
or work forward. It's really up to you.
So let's talk about it. So
Yeah.
first things first, right? Where I heard about the event that happened on October 7th, 2023 in Israel was that there is a terrorist attack
Okay.
that murdered thousands of innocent civilians in Israel, committed by Hamas and the Palestinians who are entrapped in Gaza or were living in Gaza at the time. So the way that I heard about it was that it's a tragedy, and the IDF and the Israeli government came out and said, this is our 9/11, was very adamant in saying that this is our 9/11, which the three of us and whoever else is on this campus is probably too young to really know what 9/11 was. I was alive. In fact, there's a famous picture of my mom and I with 9/11 happening in the background. Yes.
That was you.
That would give away my name.
That
but
was
like,
you?
yeah.
Maybe you should have said
That
that.
was
Yeah,
you.
maybe I shouldn't have said that. But yeah, I was a part of that. but I'm too young to know how it changed the country because I was only conscious for after the country had changed.
Right.
So for Israel to come out and say that this is our 9/11, we've been talking about 9/11 since we were 1 year old. I was 1 year old. I'm 22 now. So the impact of this to the Israeli government is to the same magnitude, or that is what they're trying to propagate.
Which is pretty devastating, so it sounds.
You would think, yes.
You would think
and
it's
I'm not
pretty-
gonna.
So it
I'm not
sounds, yeah.
going to say it's not devastating and it's not tragic because lives being lost is a tragic thing within itself. However, this is not a complicated issue, but there's context outside of that one specific day that places this moment into a bigger picture and into a broader story. Is it acceptable to start a story halfway through? That's a question for you guys.
Well, you would need context.
You
So
need
in other words,
context.
start from the beginning,
Okay, fair enough.
which makes sense.
So, the conflict at play is between Israel and Palestine, yes?
Sure.
So the story should be about the start of Israel and
Do
Palestine.
you want to like tell people what's going on if they're around while we're talking? All right, thank you.
That's
Sorry.
okay. So
Go ahead.
this talk, the Israel-Palestine conflict, is an ongoing conflict. It's not just a discussion about October 7th because the facts, although it's hard to find like specific numbers for certain things.
And you have 5 minutes.
What? What?
It's actually now 2 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
Um.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, do you want to? Nah, just leave it like that.
Yeah, just leave it like that. You're good. Or you make it more specific. You think 10 minutes is enough? 10 minutes?
10 minutes is
10
not
minutes.
enough. I was gonna talk for a minute.
No, other people have to talk too. Other people have to talk too.
Why didn't you start then?
Time is ticking.
Time is
Yo, someone has
Oh,
to
when-
introduce the topic, and I'm gonna have to be the one to do it.
Bro came here. Bro came here thinking he was gonna give us an essay.
I know he was getting all dramatic and everything.
Yeah, bro. I felt. The,
It's a tragedy.
I felt. I
I felt
felt him setting the scene.
Nobody else did it. If you want me to, I'm here to do that. Then, all right.
Scene's gone, by the way.
All right, the scene is gone, and
Right.
also, I'm just gonna skip all the bullshit because
Fair.
I'm not here to tell you what happened. I'm here to tell you
Fair.
my opinion.
Fair.
So,
That
in
is
my
very
opinion,
true, Owen.
Yeah.
yeah, in my opinion, do me a favor. All right, do you want to ask me questions? How do you want to go about this? 'Cause I have
Owen,
a
we
very,
just want to hear your voice.
I have a very, very
specific.
radical opinion.
Go for it.
Okay, so first question:
Full send.
Do you have a side?
Yes.
Do you pick a side?
Yes.
If you do, what's that side and why?
Okay, clearly, I think anybody who does not have a vested interest in the success of Israel as a nation is all on the same page that this is clearly a genocide going on. By every metric, this is a genocide of the Palestinian people who are not allowed to leave their geographical region. I want to make something clear that people don't understand. We are in Fairfield County. If you take half of the geography of Fairfield County, but double its population, that is what Gaza is. Now you take all of that population and you make 42% of them kids under 18. That is who you're dealing with. That's who is fighting an international superpower that is propagated by hundreds of billions of dollars from NATO and specifically the United States.
Okay.
So you have children fighting against the world, literally. So, you have other questions? I'm here to answer your question.
Well,
Okay.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
how did you come across this information? From
Okay,
like
so
what are your sources?
this
to-
was something all over the news, the mainstream news network of the United States.
Okay.
Now, I'm somebody who, unfortunately, has done a lot of research on things in other countries, and I'm aware of I'm aware of the playbook that America uses in its foreign policy. These people who are in power now were in during 9/11. They were in, like, these are old people. We have 85, we have 90-year-old politicians. These people are playing the same game that they've played their whole careers.
Right.
The playbook is the exact same. What's going to happen is there's going to be some major tragedy. The tragedy is going to be a justification for full-scale war. The full-scale war is going to do nothing but completely destroy the land that the United States wants to take control over. Israel is the one who is a proxy state of the United States. It only exists because of American money and because of American people. The majority of the people in Israel are people who come from Westport, Connecticut. They come from the United States and have dual citizenship in Israel. So they are American citizens who have citizenship or claim to a land in the Middle East.
How does all of this influence your side of being pro-Palestinian?
Well, think about it. This is a colonization project. I'm a white Puerto Rican who has no Puerto Rican features anymore. At the end of the day, I mean, there's generational things like socioeconomically, I'm further behind because of years worth of being Puerto Rican. But at the same time, I'm a white Puerto Rican. If you're in Palestine, you're a Palestinian who is fighting. If you want to assimilate to Israel, which is not possible, you are the target of the state, which is like people of color. You're a black person in America. You are a target of the state, the criminal justice system, welfare reform,
So
the immigration reform.
Are you comparing? Are you comparing when you say what was that line that you used? Something state.
An enemy of the state.
Are you saying that Palestinians are being the enemy?
They are the enemy of the Israeli state.
Okay.
The Israeli state is for Jews and Jews only. Jews, it's not it is an Arab conflict. However, the crux of the issue is not inherently Arab. It's specifically about Judaism. So you have Jews who are Arab, who are actually some of the most radically right-wing parts of the Israeli government.
Did you do any research? So the news that I've heard is that Israel has tried to make it so that they would all live in like harmony, sort of.
That's so
Well,
false.
hold on,
That's
hold
like
on.
America saying that it tries to live in harmony with black people,
I
but
understand
black
it's-
people are not allowed to have more than $10,000 worth of wealth compared to $100,000 worth of wealth of white people. If you think about anything I've just wrote an essay on this in my sociology class. Not that they're not allowed, but at no point in history have they ever had 10% or more of the wealth of a white family, black people in America, on a median income or a median average of wealth.
What was the question?
So
What was the question?
there
What was
is
his
no
question?
harmony. The purpose is not. He asked if there's if Israel tried to make a state of harmony.
Right.
That just does not exist. Also, how am I supposed to? If
Well,
you come
it's-
to my
I'm
house
not
and
asking if
claim
it
for a part
I'm
of
not
it,
asking if it will exist or it can exist, because obviously we're in America and it
Your
doesn't
question
exist
was
here.
if there was an attempt.
If there was attempt or multiple attempts at this.
but what does that mean? If I come and sit in your living room and tell you it's my living room, what harmony is there to be had by saying you either accept me or you don't? I didn't get invited. I just showed up. And I had some friends down the block tell me that I should stay there, and if I want to, and you say no, they'll point a gun at you and say no. You have to. He's staying in the living room. That's what's happening. So, what harmony is there to be had?
I see.
That's the
What
hot seat.
attempt? You
Whoever's
can
next
make
goes
the
on that
attempt,
chair.
but the attempt is to benefit yourself. You're not supposed to be there in the first place.
Mm.
So the harmony is for you to feel comfortable in a hostile environment that you were never supposed to be a part of.
So to answer his question, that attempt has been made, but it wasn't necessarily genuine.
Look. Whatever attempt has been made has been.
Obviously, it
punitive,
hasn't
like-
been successful because there obviously isn't.
But has it
harmony.
even
Right.
attempted to try to be successful? The answer is realistically no.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have 5,000 Palestinian people who are considered prisoners in Israel, but they have committed no crime. They haven't even been tried yet.
Okay,
the
so
hostage
right
swap
now, as in what Israel is doing right now
Yes.
is not justifiable in your opinion.
Not even in the slightest,
Why?
no.
Because you did start off backtracks. You did start off with the attack in Israel, killing dozens of people, Hamas. Now go from there. Why the retaliation of Israel is not justifiable?
Listen, I think anybody who has 5 minutes worth of research on the conflict understands that killing 10,000 kids is literally not at all comparable to killing 1,200. It's rough. I don't know. 1,200 civilians of Israeli citizenship. And I want to point something out. If you are an Israeli citizen, it is mandatory for you to be a part of the military, whether you're female or male. So all of the people who died during the party, what is it called, the festival on the border. I'm not saying that it's not a tragedy, but what I am saying is that whether people want to admit it or not, those people who are partying and on Molly or whatever, listening to this music at this festival, have to do or have done service for the IDF. And what does the IDF do? It targets Arab people and specifically Palestinians. So if you ask me, if I'm killing an off-duty officer or I'm killing an on-duty officer, the difference is marginal.
do you
One
have
was
to say
prepared,
to that?
one wasn't.
Because I have a question, a follow-up question. But do you have any follow-up questions?
Oh,
after
yeah.
that? Okay, so basically, what you're trying to tell me right now is Israel is not justified to no extent. Would you say there is an extent of initiating retaliation at all?
No.
Why?
If you think morally, no. If you want to think about geopolitics, okay,
Mm.
to some extent, like my nation got attacked by a specific group of people, so like therefore they are considered.
And do you
our
know what
enemy.
Hamas is?
Y-
The relationship between Hamas and Palestine
Yes. So
in the Gaza Strip. Yeah.
yes. So I don't know a lot.
Mhm.
I know enough to get by.
Mhm.
I think I know the general story. Hamas is locally elected. I'm going to put election
Right.
in quotations
Right.
because I don't know if the election is fair or
Legit
not.
right?
But Palestinian support of Hamas is greater than any of the other leaders that were implemented or forced into positions of power to represent Palestine.
Mm.
This is another part of the playbook. I don't have enough time to go through it, but what America does will come kill or they will place a de facto leader in either through sponsorship, through government, like funding a certain candidate, or by directly placing someone in a position of power that has America's best interest. America is the exact same thing as Israel. All of these people are American. It doesn't exist without American money. It's just another form of America, but in the Middle East. So when you have Palestine being represented by an Israeli or being represented by somebody who was put into power through Israeli money or through American money, it's not a Palestinian leader. So who is a Palestinian leader? Hamas, who is going to try their best to advocate for Palestinian interests, which is locally elected. Also, a lot of these people
Are the actions of Hamas justifiable and aligned with the actions of what Palestinians want?
if you're going to take into account the whole history of what's been happening and how the land has been stripped from the people who have lived there, the Palestinians, I'm not saying it's justified to kill 12,000 civilians. But what I am saying is, what do you expect to happen over 75 years when you kill all the kids? The average life expectancy is no greater than 60 years old. They have no future. They haven't even left the Gaza Strip. They don't know anything other than people in Gaza. They don't know anything other than their strip. They cannot leave Fairfield, half of Fairfield County. They are not allowed to leave. What do you expect to happen? You starve them. You give them no opportunities, no access to education, no ability to see the outside world other than through the internet. You're in a fishbowl. What are you going to be?
Yeah, speak.
Hi,
Speak.
my name is Deannalise.
Mhm.
I feel like I shouldn't have been sitting behind the camera when Owen was speaking because now I'm very riled up.
It's okay.
Do you want to take a second to?
I
should
don't
we-
want to
should
take
we
a
ask
second,
questions?
actually,
Should we ask questions
because
first?
this isn't about me. This is about a bigger cause. This is about the people in Palestine who don't have a voice, so I'm speaking on behalf of them. Thank you.
All right, here
So
we
I don't
go.
need a minute. They need a minute.
Okay, here we go.
Anyways, I just want to clear up a lot of things around here. I know that you mentioned talking about the history of it. And there's a lot that goes back to it. This happened, as we all know, before October 7th. This happened even before 1948. This happened before the Nakba. This happened
Yeah, this happened years ago.
initially. Years? I mean, you can, if you want to say years, this happened, like 107 years ago. Or the start of it initially. So I just want to clear up what Zionism is. Zionism is a 125-year-old political philosophy that was the national movement for the Jewish people who believed that they needed a homeland. That's what Zionism is. It is a political philosophy that believes that Jewish people need a homeland and that they are entitled to it.
Okay.
That's what Zionism is. Now, a Semitic, because anti-Zionism does not mean you're anti-Semitic. Anti-Zionism does not mean you're anti-Semitic. To be a Semite, to be Semitic means that you speak one of the four historical language, which is Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, and Aramaic. That qualifies you to be a Semite. So to say that you're anti-Zionist, meaning you're anti-Semitic, is not what it is, because in modern day society, Jews have claimed that to be a Semite or to be Semitic is just a Jewish thing. It's not, first and foremost. Secondly, this happened before October 7th. This happened before 1948. This happened in 1917 when the Ottoman Empire had its territories and they were being distributed. The British mandate took over the state of Palestine. They weren't a state. Every part of the territories that were under the Ottoman Empire became an independent state except for Palestine. Then Palestine went under the British mandate. I'm not sure, but this was
Ask that
1917.
one more time. What was that?
Why didn't Palestine become an independent state?
It was the only place that didn't become an independent state out of the Ottoman empires. It got under the British control.
Wait, do you not know, or is it just like
I
nobody
know that
knows?
it didn't become an independent
Okay,
state.
okay.
It got
Well,
under the British
obviously,
mandate.
Yeah.
During the British mandate, they were pro-Zionist, right? Because Zionism started in the 19th century. It started before, again, 125 years ago. During this time, I think it was in like the 1920s, the British mandate decided to sign over the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration was signed, I believe, in 1924.
What is that?
The Balfour Declaration was signed by Andrew Balfour to the Rothschild second male child. If anybody knows anything about the Rothschild family is an Ashkenazi Jewish family that is one of the most wealthiest families on the face of this planet. They were estimated to have been worth 500 million to $1 trillion. So
You
the
seem
Balfour
interested.
Declaration was written for the Rothschild family. Mind you, they were Zionists. So now this Balfour Declaration states that Jewish people have a right for Palestine to be their homeland. This was written by somebody in Britain
Right.
to this Rothschild family.
Right.
That's where that started, right? Then the Jewish people and the Zionists were like,
Pull up a
"Oh,
chair.
we have a place, we have this territory, and this is ours now." That's what the people believed. That's what the Zionists believed. This was supposed to be their place. This political ideology, this philosophical thing that came about, just take over a land.
So, okay.
Anyways, so on and so forth. People started migrating there. The Jewish people started migrating there. They were just being told what was being told to them. They were moving based on what was being told to them. The Jewish
So everybody just started flooding.
people. So
in
the
there.
Jewish people started moving into Palestine.
Okay.
The Palestinians didn't agree on this, may I add. In the Balfour Declaration, it stated that the Palestinian people had the right to their own identity, if you will. Like I forgot exactly what it stated. It
Okay.
protects their rights, basically. It didn't protect their political rights, but it protected their.
Quick question
I forgot
before you
exactly
continue.
what it
If Palestine at the time was not an individual state, what was it considered as?
They were under the British mandate, but it was considered Palestine. It was a territory called Palestine.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it was a territory.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
got
was a
it.
territory called Palestine. It's the same way how Puerto Rico was a territory of the United States.
Okay, understood.
That's how that came about. Anyways, so on and so forth. Jewish people started moving in, this, that, and the third. And then it was too many people. It was too many people moving in. The Palestinians feared displacement because now it's there's so many people coming in that we don't know, and they're driving us out, essentially. This started before, mind you, I'm still before 1948. This is still happening before 1948. The British mandate realized that there were too many people going into this place, and then they altered the Balfour Declaration through a white paper. They stated that Palestine had already fulfilled its duties to be the Jewish homeland, and they were supposed to cap further immigration to 75,000 people unless it was further accepted by the Palestinian Arabs. Mind you, the Palestinian Arabs were we don't want it. 75,000 people, khalas, that's where we're capping it. The Zionists didn't agree with that. They were like, you British people, you're siding with the Arabs. You don't care about us. Even though, A, they had already established a homeland for them, and they had already drove people in there, right? The Zionists were not satisfied. They completely disregarded the British mandate and the Balfour Declaration and the new white paper and kept pushing people in there. Now, there's this group of people called the Nakba. The Nakba was a group of Zionists under the British mandate inside of Palestine. The Nakba would coordinate with the Yishuv. The Yishuv were the group of Jewish people in Palestine before 1948. They were called the Yishuv. Right. The Nakba was the group. The Yishuv were the people. Now, the Nakba decided that they wanted to infiltrate a lot of the wireless network systems that were being, that were being, were owned by the British mandate for Palestine. So when the Nakba infiltrated this wireless network system, they got access to the coastal lines that allowed the ships of immigrants to come in. They further brought in more and more Jewish people that surpassed the 75,000 immigration cap. Right. This is still 1948. Before 1948, we're in 1939 right now. Like, I can go on about this.
Yeah, so a lot
But
is
this
happening
is the
before
beginning.
then, right.
Mind you, from the jump, the Zionists were not satisfied with what they were given and completely disregarded what the British mandate had said and placed for Palestine through their laws, through their declarations, through their white papers.
So, but why were they able to do that though?
Because the British mandate supported the Zionists.
Okay.
Yeah, but then when the British mandate was like, hey, like, this is enough, the Zionists were like, no, it's not. We need more. We want more.
So why didn't the British mandate just do something about it? Like, why did they?
So, furthermore, when the
Okay.
British mandate realized that it was getting too out of hand, they handed over Palestine and the entire conflict, which was actually a conflict at the time. It's not now. It's a genocide now. They handed it over to the UN. They handed it over to the UN in 1947 because they realized that they couldn't deal with it. It was getting out of hand. The Zionists weren't listening. Nakba was out of control. Like, there was way too many people. And this is after the Second World War. So when the Second World War happened, obviously we all know what the Second World War is. If you don't, you need to read a book. This was when 600,000 Jews after the Second World War needed a place to go, and no Western state wanted them. Where did they go? Palestine, because it was their home. So now, on top of disregarding the 75,000 immigrant cap that was supposed to be further passed by the Palestinian Arabs that was completely disregarded. Now 600,000 more Jewish people are coming in.
So it wasn't even like a hostile takeover. It was just more so like they just wanted to move in.
They moved in and they pushed the Palestinian people out because they wanted the place, because from the jump, the Balfour Declaration stated that this land was to be theirs, even though there was an entire nation of people already living there. They moved like they owned it because they were told that they owned it over some guy that was in the British whatever. Ridiculous. The Rothschild family was involved too, mind you, from the jump. Ugh. Anyways, 1948 comes around. The UN, 1947 comes around. The UN says this can be two states. This can be two independent states. The Balfour Declaration is out of the way now. The white papers are out of the way. Anything that was done before is gone. The UN says this is going to become two states. You can claim yourself as independent states.
Okay.
One side,
Which is good.
one side claim themselves as the state of Israel.
Okay.
The other side
I am
did not.
so
But they only did not.
sorry.
No, 1 second. I'm going to cap me off at 1948.
Okay.
The other side, whilst before the Nakba, Israel was already building their armies. They were building their people.
Right.
They were building their connections.
Right.
When they got claimed as the state of Israel,
Okay.
they completely bombarded Palestine. Bombarded. This was the Nakba. Nakba in Arabic means catastrophe. During the Nakba, 700,000 Palestinians were uprooted from their homes and told to flee or were kicked out. 700,000 Palestinians. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really know what to say.
So do you have a side?
Very good starting question.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I am. I don't know why I would say I am pro-Palestinian.
Okay. And why?
Valid second question.
I had during my high school education, I was lucky enough to have a modern Middle East class, which is not something that happens very often.
Mhm.
Closer.
Yeah. That's good.
Thank you.
And we had an entire section that was basically just on Israel. And before that, I had my sister is very pro-Palestinian, has been for a long time, since like a decade before I was even thinking about it. And I had already heard lots of things, and it was like perhaps arguable. I found it perhaps arguable. You could see like Ben Shapiro clips of him arguing it. You'd see like other forms of pro-Israeli propaganda to some degree, arguing it. It seemed arguable before that class, and then I took the class, and it's so hard to defend Israel after like even learning like not opinionated history, just like straight
Straight facts.
history, just like
Yeah.
actual what happened. It's very difficult to like. Perhaps you could support Israel needing like or the reason for Israel's existence. Perhaps you could support the like home for a Jewish people or like some sort of compensation for the Holocaust or something charitable to that end. But like the way that it's been achieved and the way that it is currently being like upheld or is like it's just not good or humane or like anything in any way. It's just not right, basically. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's valid. It's valid. It's valid. I don't really have any questions. That was pretty straightforward.
So every now and then I hear like random facts about random sides. In regards to Israel and the Jewish people, one thing that I have heard was that throughout time they've never really had a home, and so then they would just
who
always
never really had a home.
the Jewish people
Okay.
or whatever, and they would just always be on the run, and then finally they found a home, Israel, and now like all this is happening. So the part that I'm asking is like, is it true that they've never really had a place to really call home?
I mean, again, I'm not an expert, but probably, I mean, the state of Israel is like supposed to be a Jewish state. Like, that's the idea.
You're good.
I would say that a counterpoint to that is like, I mean, it's hard to make a counterpoint to that because I'm not super knowledgeable. I'm somewhat knowledgeable, but I'm not like in any way to an argumentative level knowledgeable. But
Neither
like,
am I. Neither am I.
one could say that like a different minority group or like ethnic group, like say the Kurds, have never really had a home or an ethnic like a state to call a home, basically.
And you're comparing this to Israel, or
I'm
Israel
comparing
or
it to like Jews and Israel, and
Sure.
yeah.
so the Kurds.
And like, I mean, they kind of do somewhat have a thing going on the borders of Syria and Iraq and Turkey, but like, it's not the same. And like, no one really supports the Kurds. No one cares about them. And I think the main reason why is probably because they're not white and they're not from Europe and they're not like, yeah, they just don't have the privilege that the white Jews that moved from European countries to Israel have. And that's like also another part of it is it's very hard to see any way to support Israel because it's so easy, and I would say the truth that it is just like a form of what I have called it in the past. I'm not a professional or anything fancy, but I would say it's arguable that it's like one of the last great colonial expansions in the world, probably, is like the flood of specifically white Jews to Israel and the occupation by specifically white Jews in Israel.
Right.
So,
Do you think that your religion or your family or anything of that sort or your culture had any sway over your decision making
I
when
mean,
it comes to picking a side? Or was it just strictly your history and what you've been taught?
I used to play devil's advocate with my sister. My sister is pro-Palestine. When she was 17, I'm a lot younger than her. I was a little kid when she was in high school. She traveled abroad to Turkey and stayed in Turkey and actually also learned Arabic and spoke Arabic and lived with first a host family in Turkey. They were speaking Turkish. She learned Turkish. She lived in Turkey for a little while. She also lived in Morocco, so I believe that she had more of a
Experience, like hands-on.
experience with the situation. Not experience with the situation, but she had more of an understanding, more of a different perspective. Perhaps, however biased that you could say that perspective or experience was. And I was raised Christian. I don't really believe in anything now, but my mother, more than anything, was more of like a morals person than like any form of like religious support. There's no religious connection really. It's just like a thought on reality, or not reality, morality.
Well, do you think it's okay for people to pick a side strictly based off of their religion or their culture or family members? Do you think that's okay?
Short
Valid.
answer, no.
Valid.
But
Valid.
I mean, I guess it's complicated because like it's complicated. It's hard for people to like differ from their parents' beliefs and their family's beliefs, and it's hard to be like specifically going against them. But to some degree, like supporting what Israel is doing, I feel is at the very least immoral and problematic. And yeah, just like the excuse that like, oh, my family or oh, my religion led to this is, I don't know. It's so easy to just like not. It's so very clearly morally wrong in a lot of ways. So I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
You've been a
That's all I
great
got.
help. Thank you for coming on.
Anyone want to come next?
And I understand there's a religious aspect to this, but the political aspect should be undermined more because we got political countries coming in. And through the political aspect, you got to understand that this war is technically Palestine versus the Muslim world.
It's Palestine versus what?
Versus the Muslim world.
Why do you say that?
If the Muslim world so-called really cared, they would have done something by now. Pakistan, I'm Pakistani. Pakistan's not doing anything. Or in the beginning, they threatened, we'll do this, we'll do that. No one's doing anything. Egypt, in their Congress the other day, they had a big argument. There's people trying to fight for it, but at the end of the day, Egypt hasn't done anything that much so far. Saudi Arabia, Mecca, Medina, and Saudi Arabia, they haven't done anything at all. If they really cared, what's the largest empire in the world? What runs through money is oil. Why don't you just bend and say, yo, we're not going to give any oil to anyone. America's going to bend, Russia's going to bend, everyone's going to bend. Even though I know Russia's for Palestine, I think. But it's like at the end of the day, it's Palestine versus the Muslim world. I'm just saying, like, they're not helping, they're not doing any of that.
Interesting.
No, that's an interesting take.
Do you think your religion swayed any way towards like you're deciding on which side you wanted to choose?
Well, you didn't even tell us.
Either
if you
your
picked a
religion
side.
or
did
like
you pick a side? He
your
even said
family. Like, did your family members ever like sort of sway you into choosing a side?
No, the family, I don't know. Because everyone got their own opinion. My family is a debatable
Right.
family. Anyone could think what they want. But if you come to a religious aspect, obviously, and it's more so a humane aspect too, but there's religious prophecies in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam where they all speak about events that kind of mirror what's happening right now. But I think that on a humane level, both sides, there should be no casualties. Obviously, I'm saying, when I say free Palestine, I don't say kill everyone in Israel. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we got to stop the casualties, but at the end of the day, there will be no peace under Israel. So free Palestine.
I mean, people on the other side say the same thing. There's not going to be any peace if like Palestine doesn't back off.
But
So-
how is what do you mean by Palestine backing up, backing off?
Like, if Palestine backs down or one side, whatever side backs down, then there's going to be peace. That's what each side is claiming. If one side backs down, there's going to be peace.
But my
But
question is more so like
for
for
truth.
my question is more like Palestine. Do you think Palestine is in a position to back down?
Maybe not Palestine, but whatever. Should we tab on it? I mean, on